Hey YouTube, Pheano here. So I just wanted to make like a quick video talking about the BNR update. Did not actually realize that it was coming out. I believe it's tomorrow. Thought it was coming out on the 30th. So just wanted to give my like general thoughts on what I think will happen, what I think could happen, and what I think what like I want to see happen with the ban list. So first of all, what do I think is actually going to happen with the BNR update? Nothing. I think that the company probably is looking at the top 8 results of everything as going, this is a generally healthy meta. People are winning with different things. It's rather diverse. There's no like massive outcry on the internet of any like specific thing. People being like, oh my god, Starvo or anything like that. It's, people are complaining about like things being annoying, like Oldham's a meme right now on the Facebook page, but there's nothing that's like egregiously sticking out that's like this needs to be dealt with right now. So I don't foresee anything. I think it's just going to be a Living Legend update saying that Briar still is not Living Legend. At least I don't think it is. I haven't checked. I'm imagining it hasn't hit LL. There's going to be no updates, and then them just announcing the next update. I could see them talking about cards they're looking at of like, these are suspect right now, but not doing anything about them. I think that's like probably fine, but I personally would like to see like a single ban. I would like to see just Mask of the Pouncing Lynx go. I think that's like the only thing right now that like really sticks out to me as an egregious card that should go, as it's, well, for one, there's obvious that it's like significantly above rate for a piece of armor. It's like Baby Scalata or Scaletta. I don't know how to pronounce that card. You just like start the game with like 6 to 7 damage on board, and that's crazy for a piece of armor. We all know how good Husk was, but at least there's the downside of they do start taking damage from it. There is a way to beat them at that point. With this is the counterplay is don't take damage ever. That's not really a counterplay. So like sitting down across from a Phi and just going, I started the game at like 40 or 34, 30, 34, 33. That kind of sucks against an aggro deck than just starting the game with that much free damage. The bigger thing though with that to me isn't the math behind the card. It's more that I feel like it's gatekeeping a lot of decks from the meta. It feels like a check on like, if you can't race Phi start with you starting at 33, you're not a real deck. So it's pushing a lot of decks out of the meta, making it feel like you can, at least in the higher level, only get away with playing either an ice deck, as you can answer them and stop them from doing these things, or you're playing Phi. Obviously, Phi can not draw the nut, and there is counterplay to that deck. But over a long tournament, like a calling or something like that, where you're gonna get checked by that deck multiple times over the course of Swiss, that matters far more than just like a smaller 4, 5, 6 round local tournament where you may only face one Phi and accept that you lose to that, and then still make top 8, and then the Phi's on the other side of the bracket, so you never see them. So, you can do better at a smaller thing with wackier decks. And I think that because of that pushing out a lot of decks, it means that a lot of answers to the ice decks are pushed out of the meta. The value game that these ice decks play isn't as good into mid range, as these decks aren't as heavily impacted by one Frosty Boy, so they can play a different game plan. That's my thoughts on that. I don't think that it like has to get banned though. I think it's like just kind of a dumb card, and it homogenizes the meta a bit, and I just don't like that from like a deck building standpoint. The only other things that like really stick out to me is I could see them want to tune back the ice decks a little bit. I could see them taking a similar approach that they took to Blitz, where they try to cut back on ice veins. I could see them hit Channel Lake Frigid like suspending it or something like that, or suspending Striders. I don't think they'll do that. I think that's like too heavy of a hand on those decks. But I think that the Ice Vein is the most reasonable out of them. Maybe just like red Ice Vein or something like that. And then the only other thing that really sticks out to me that I would like to see go is cards that I've been talking about needing to go for a long time now. Belittle, Crown of Seeds. There's too many crowns now. And Art of War. Art of War is just an insanely busted card that needs to be banned at some point. We saw how dirty it was with Chain. We saw how dirty it is with Phi. And it's one of those cards that's going to age really well, I think, and keep finding new homes and keep just being broken. I want to see it go at some point. I don't know if now is necessarily the time. Similarly, Belittle is a card that is so above rate for what it is. It is either a 1 for 6 or it's a like -2 for 3. And it also in Runeblade removes deck building restrictions of the non-attack and attack and makes you play greedier cost curves. The card breaks a lot of fundamental deck design while being above rate. I can understand why they don't want to right now, as ice is so prevalent and it is an answer to that, but I do think it needs to go at some point. And then similarly, Crown is a card that I think needs to go at some point, as it breaks a lot of core tendencies and understandings of how the game works with converting mana into life, making it so you hit your second cycle faster, and maintaining threat density in a deck by putting reds back on the bottom without actually paying the cost of putting a red back into your deck. Because normally, if you want to maintain threat density in the late game, you have to pitch the red or the yellow or whatever it is. And that's a real cost that you have to pay by doing that. This lets you cheat that and just get a free late game at almost no cost. I don't think that any of these need to go right now. They are cards that stick out to me as game design problems and will continue to be game design problems into the future. And it's like one of those things that you always have to print cards with these in the back of your head that they exist, kind of like Awakening. You can never print an above rate Guardian card with Awakening in the format. And then they immediately do it. It's like one of those, like, you get rid of them before they become a problem. And they already have been shown to be a problem, so. But again, I don't think that's happening anytime soon. I honestly feel like we're probably in one of the most balanced metas I've ever played in any card game. So, like, again, I don't think we need bans. It'd be more of a shake-up ban or just like a balance patch almost of just like, let's bring things more in line with each other. And I just don't see that happening, especially with the fact that we have like nothing going on for this set until the next set drops. So it's like, why would they bother? It'd just be for like skirmish season, which I imagine is Blitz, so doesn't affect that. We have, 2 callings that are classic? I'm assuming the New Zealand one, wherever, is also classic. I haven't looked at that because I'm not going. So, like, they are not pressured to make any changes to the format. Now, an interesting thought. I think it was Tariq made a post about this on Twitter or something, talking about, like, Chain and Starvo. Just because it's a balanced meta, is it fun? And that's something that I've been talking about pretty much since Prism LL'd and we moved into the, like, Icelander Oldhim Phi meta. Is this necessarily a fun meta? I've been pretty vocal about that I haven't enjoyed the current past, like, meta and a half, as I just don't find any of these decks particularly interesting to play. But that's a preference thing. Like, I'm speaking for myself and what I have fun with in the game. But I'm curious to see what you guys think. Do you think that these past 2 metas are fun? Do you think they're engaging? Do you think that they're necessarily better than the broken metas that we've had with like Chain and Starvo and such? I do think it's very balanced. I think that it is a good format, but is it the best format it could be? I'll leave you guys with that question. I'm curious to see what you guys think in the comments, so please leave that below. And again, thank you so much for all the support that you guys have been leaving me. That's it. Peace, YouTube.